The VKs taught us that good is the new bad, and no one is better at being good than Carlos. This shy, dog-loving brainiac is one of our favorite characters. But have you ever wondered what will happen to Carlos after Descendants 3? Stay tuned to find out all about Carlos's happily ever after.
What about peacock feathers? Yeah, I bet you nobody's gonna have those a cotillion.
Descendants 3. Carlos has grown a lot since the beginning of the first Descendants film. He was too shy to speak up for anything when we first met him. His mom, Cruella de Vil, used him as a servant. Seriously, she was so full of herself. And she valued her fur coats more than her own son, so it's pretty understandable that Carlos lacked a lot of confidence. His mom had also convinced him that dogs were evil.
Mom said they're rabid pack animals who eat boys who don't behave.
But at Auradon Prep, he befriended Dude the dog. He realized that dogs are the best, and the two are basically inseparable. In Descendants 2, he joins the lacrosse team. He also finally gets the courage to ask Jane to the coronation ball. These two are perfect for each other. They both struggle with self-confidence, but are very fond of one another. We didn't see a lot of Carlos in the D3 trailer, but we do know he is going to be facing some serious challenges in the new movie. Carlos may be the son of a villain, but he was never really wicked. He's got such a pure heart. We think Carlos will be the one to keep the rest of the VKs from turning evil again. He's just such a good guy. Scholarship. Carlos can sometimes be a little naive, but he's not dumb. In fact, he is really smart. He is really into video games and computers. In the first movie, it's his tech skills that help the VKs gain access to the fairy godmother's wand. Kids who are good at tech often score some pretty epic scholarships, and Carlos is definitely going to want to go to college. Carlos will graduate from Auradon Prep as one of the best students. Carlos will also score an amazing scholarship to the top computer programs in Auradon. He'll study hard and graduate college with an amazing GPA. But what about his friends? Well, Jay is amazing at sports, so we bet he'll become an athlete when he goes to a university. These two will totally room together in college. They are besties after all. Carlos could have his pick of majors. There are a lot of technology-themed degrees. He could pick computer engineering, software design, or computer science. He could focus on video games or apps. He's pretty creative, so we bet he'll go into something like software development. Carlos has unlimited potential. He'll be an amazing university student. Dating Jane. Carlos and Jane are basically the cutest couple ever. They are both so shy and a little awkward, but they really like each other. They will definitely try to keep dating after Auradon Prep, but will they last? Most high school relationships don't continue into college. Jane will definitely go to a university after they graduate, but this will be the first time that she is free from her mom's overprotective personality. Jane is going to want to live it up. Here's what we think will happen with Carlos and Jane. Jane will break up with Carlos for a while. She'll think she's too young to commit. He'll be heartbroken. He really loves her and doesn't want anyone else, but these two are just meant to be. They'll keep finding ways to come back to each other. By the end of college, they will totally be together again. Jane will realize that Carlos is the perfect guy. He's sweet and smart, he's caring, and thinks she is amazing. Jane deserves Carlos, and he deserves her. They'll stop fighting it and just be together. By this time, Fairy Godmother will really approve of Carlos. She'll accept him as a member of the family.
I'm coming, Audrey! Wow.
Dude the dog. Okay, we know that Jay, Mal, and Evie are Carlos's best friends, but what about his other bestie? You know, the one that is a little bit furrier than the others? That's right, we're talking about Dude the dog. Carlos adores Dude, and Dude loves Carlos right back. Dude was technically the school dog, but by the end of the first movie, there's no doubt about it. He really belongs to Carlos. Dude is the first creature to make Carlos realize how awful his mom is. He realized that dogs are not evil, and Dude helps him find his confidence. We can't just expect Carlos to leave Dude behind, right? No way! We think Fairy Godmother will agree to officially give Dude to Carlos. She knows Dude will be way happier living with his favorite human. And because Auradon is a perfect magical world, Dude gets to go to college with Carlos. He will help Carlos make even more friends at college. He'll be there to comfort him when Carlos is sad about Jane. Carlos will make sure that Dude gets spoiled rotten. Basically, their relationship won't change at all. And that's the way it should be. Dog walker. Carlos grew up poor on the Isle of the Lost. All the VKs did. He got a taste of the good life at Auradon Prep, and he isn't afraid of hard work. Sure, Carlos gets a scholarship to pay for school, but he needs money for other stuff like food, fun, and taking care of Dude. He also needs a job that works with his schedule as a student, and since he loves dogs, he picks the perfect college job. He becomes a dog walker. Carlos is amazing with dogs. His clients will love him, and this is a pretty great way to earn some good money. People will pay a lot for their pups to receive plenty of exercise. Carlos can also dog sit for even more money. He and Dude can go spend the weekend at someone's house to watch their dogs. That will give him a nice break from his roommate, Jay. Even best friends need a little time apart. We just can't imagine Carlos having another job in college. He just doesn't seem like the type of person to work as a cashier, and he got so tired of taking orders from his mom, he would hate being a waiter. Yep, we think walking dogs is the perfect job for Carlos while he's in school. Do you do things like walk dogs for extra money? Tell us in the comments. Tech genius. Unfortunately, college doesn't last forever. At some point, Carlos, like everyone else, is going to graduate and get a job. So what will Carlos do after graduation? He's going to make a lot of money. Computer jobs usually pay pretty well. Carlos will graduate with good grades and can get any job he wants. And let's not forget that he's a tech genius. Carlos is definitely going to be an entrepreneur. He's going to have a tech startup that is super successful. So what will his business be? Let's look at his passions. He loves helping his friends, and since we know Evie is going to be a successful fashion designer, he could design some sort of technology for her. He also has such a good heart. He might want to start some sort of tech company for the kids on the Isle of the Lost. But there is one thing that Carlos is really passionate about. No, not Jane. Dogs! Carlos loves dogs. Carlos is definitely going to design an app that helps dogs and dog owners. We're thinking about a dog training app. There will also be a part of the app on how to get over your fear of dogs. Carlos loves dogs and thinks everyone should. He'll be super successful. He'll get rich and sell his company for a lot of money. What will he do with all his money? Keep watching to find out.
So have you not read the rule book?
The proposal. Sure, Carlos is going to have a really successful career, but we can't forget about Jane. Carlos and Jane are finally together. They both have successful careers and are just enjoying life, but they are super in love. Carlos decides that it's been long enough. He is ready to get married. Her whole life has been spent in someone else's shadow, and it seems like she is always planning an event for someone else. She's not royalty, but she loves to get dressed up and feel pretty. So Carlos plans the most romantic proposal ever. He gets all their friends together to plan a birthday ball for Jane. He's rich now, so this is not just a tiny party. He goes all out. For once, she'll get to be the center of attention. All he tells her is that she needs to dress up in a fancy new dress. Evie designs a custom ball gown for Jane. Carlos sends her to the spa for the day. Then that night, he picks her up in a limo and takes her to her birthday ball. She is so surprised and she feels so loved. But then it gets better. Halfway through the party, Carlos stops the live bands that he hired. He takes the mic and makes a speech about how much he loves Jane. Then he gets down on one knee and asks her to marry him. She says yes, of course. Carlos is definitely fiancé goals. Mommy Dearest. If anyone deserves a totally happy life, it's Carlos. He grew up feeling totally unloved. He was used and abused by Cruella. Now, we don't think there's a lot of hope for Mal or Evie's moms. They are really evil. But Carlos is going to finally confront his mom. He's gained lots of confidence. So before he gets married, he tells her exactly how he feels. Cruella starts to feel some remorse, and she misses him, though she won't admit it. So Carlos pays for them to go to family therapy. There they get to talk about all of their issues. It's not going to be easy, but Carlos is patient, and Cruella wants to be loved. It takes a long time, but eventually, Cruella apologizes. They will never be super close, but they have come to an understanding. Carlos also helps other villains on the island to be better parents. He starts a campaign to help villains show love to their kids. He doesn't want any more kids to feel like he did, and he vows that he won't ever treat his future kids like he was treated. Married life. Jane and Carlos have an amazing wedding. Between Jane and Fairy Godmother, every detail is planned perfectly. Jane is a beautiful bride. Evie designs her wedding dress, of course. Jay is Carlos's best man, and Dude is the cutest ring bearer ever. Jane and Carlos live in a nice house on a lot of land in Auradon. They both have their careers, but they can make lots of time for each other. They share all the housework and cooking. They have weekly date nights, so even when life gets busy, they take time for each other. They love hosting all their friends on the weekends. Dude has a huge backyard. Eventually, Carlos rescues another dog and then another one. His business is doing so well that he ends up selling it. Now he has a lot of free time. He and Jane decide that this is a good time to have a family. He can be a stay-at-home dad while she keeps her career. And Dude is excited to have a new tiny human. They gather their closest friends and family to tell them that Jane is expecting. Fairy godmother is so excited to be a fairy grandmother. Happily ever after, Jane and Carlos make the cutest kids. Their first baby is a boy. They have 2 more kids, a girl and another boy. Carlos is a great dad, but in the meantime, he keeps rescuing more dogs. He builds a whole building for the canines. Jane is a little annoyed, but she knows Carlos is just really passionate about his furry friends. She suggests that he start a dog rescue. It's brilliant! Carlos spends his days taking care of his kids and all his dogs. He helps homeless dogs find new homes, and the dogs have 3 cute kids to play with. As the kids get older, Carlos expands. He offers dog training, dog sitting, and more. He starts a program to give dogs to troubled kids from the aisle. Jane is supportive, but she makes him shower as soon as he's done for the day. She doesn't want him to get that damp dog smell all over the furniture. They are totally a couple in love for the rest of their lives, and Carlos has made a huge difference in the world. He's helped other VKs and lots of dogs. These 2 definitely live happily ever after. What do you think Jane and Carlos named their children? Let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching. If you want to be chillin' like a villain, hit that subscribe button for videos about D3 and more.